Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Few announcements to make for upcoming activities on Friday, May 10th. Excuse me. There'll be an adult messy canvas paint night at the schoolyard from 7 to 9 p.m. Excuse me. Registration ends tonight at midnight. Link to register can be found on the Parks and Rec page on the website. Saturday, May 11th, youth softball players will be selling carnations for Mother's Day at the New Ipswich Market, Shot Stop in Memorial Park from 9 to 1 until supplies last. Saturday, May 18th, Kids Fishing Derby from 9 to 12 at Cemetery Pond on Main Street. And that's sponsored by the Stearns Burton Lecture Fund and Joe Mark. More info can be found on the Parks and Rec page. If you would like to support the Derby with a donation, stop by the New Ipswich Market or Shot Stop and purchase a fish. Saturday, May 18th, there's a 80s dance party. It's a 21 and older event to be held at the Greenville Legion. Raffles, contests, and more. Tickets available for purchase now. Visit the Park and Rec page to buy your tickets. Limited availability. Okay. Mr. Meisner. First on the agenda.
I'm here as a trustee of the trust funds, and this is the Spalding Trust, you know, and what I'm interested in is starting there with the in case, where I want you to officially appoint us as the, you know, it starts down here in case, that last paragraph where it appoints us as trustees. You know, we're supposed to have a three-man committee for the Spalding Fund selected at town meeting. And if we fail to do that, according to the will, then the selectmen should appoint. And so, based on your letter to me, I didn't know if that was an official letter or not. I'd like to ask that the selectmen officially appoint the trustees as a Spalding committee. At your request, because you guys punted on doing the work.
Only because of
that.
What is that?
Because we have a trustee of trust funds, so and it is a trust fund. So
well, we're willing to do it, but then let's make it official and have you appoint us as the trustee of trust funds as a Spalding committee.
Can we name the names of who we're appointing?
Well, sure. You know,
Okay.
it's myself and Ben Huesca and Carol Romborough.
Okay.
But for longevity, I think we should make it the trustees of the trust fund.
Yes.
That way their
Well,
terms expire.
You could do that. It talks about it every year having a committee appointed, but
Yeah.
you know, it's up to you.
right. I make a motion that the trustee of trust funds become the trustees of the Spalding Trust Will.
It's the Spalding committee.
Spalding Committee so they become the Spalding Committee or the Committee on the Spalding Fund.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Woody,
We
is
had,
that spelled correctly or is?
Yeah, it was no
Okay.
you.
I spelled
Okay.
it wrong.
All right.
Yeah, well, I
So
spelled
I
it
probably
wrong
did
several
too.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We, you know, we had a request from the DI, that's what triggered all this, for the high school, and we don't believe that that's as worthy as that is, that it's necessarily appropriate, but we left it with them, because they came to our meeting, that we would consult with the town attorney. Benty has done that. We're gonna have a meeting tomorrow morning to see what the town attorney said. We didn't all troop up there because then we'd had a meeting, you know. And
This was to see if they felt that it
Yeah.
fell in that parameter of the
if
will.
somehow he reinterpreted the will in some other way to indicate that, you know, subgroups of the school we could give them money.
So what was the final interpretation?
Bentley's gonna tell us tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's why I say, we didn't, you know, don't wanna run afoul of the meeting laws, and so he dealt with the guy, and we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow morning, so. Because if it turns out that we can do groups, then now we open the can of worms, because everybody else is gonna show up with their hand out, you know?
Right, except it states that you only have you can only spend the income from the year.
Well, that's true, but then, you know, how do we judge? Okay, who's worthy? Is the DI group more worthy than the cheerleaders?
No, but I mean, but you figure it's just like anything else. You figure we are giving fish using a lecture fund, so I'm sure we can come up with something using part of the money. You know, I mean, they put in for X amount, and you go, well, we're only going to award Y amount. You know, and then there's more money there for other groups. It's, you know,
Well, we'll find out tomorrow what the
Yeah,
attorney
and if you would let us know what those parameters are, where you can dole out money and when you cannot.
By the way, I don't know if you're aware, but there is another fund that the selectmen have control over, that they can dish money out for whatever cause.
You're talking the electric light fund?
No.
Which one's that?
Well, I have to go and look and get the name, but it exists, you know. It's got.
It wouldn't have to be the one that was in this will, the line above it, which
No.
was, it's not that, okay.
No,
Because
no,
we
it's
were
not.
wondering whatever happened to that fund.
Oh, and well, you know, I asked the school, I went to the school and was chatting with her and asked her to pull some old school reports to see when we actually took over the Appleton Academy, when it went from private to public, because Article 15, this is 17, it was 15 that they got money that was supposed to be held in perpetuity. Where'd it go? You know? And, but they haven't called me back. They only, on the top of their head, they only had a few years of school reports. This probably happened in the 60s or 50s or 40s. I have no idea.
It's ironic that you say that, because I was looking at something the other day on the Hillsborough County Registry of Deeds for the town, and of course Appleton was the first thing that was popping up, and I think it was in '63. There were things in there, I think that's when, also when Appleton sold, what was the 1808 to, I think it was Bill Willard.
Before my time.
Yeah, so it must have been around that time frame.
Well, if we could, I was hoping that their records, the Appleton Academy records, are probably long gone. God knows where they are, but I thought maybe the school would have some information about when they took it over. But we haven't found those records yet. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Woody.
They got urgent things to take care of here, so I'll leave it with you.
You guys want a letter?
I want, as long as it's in the minutes, maybe
Okay.
you can drop us a copy of the minutes. Sure.
Thank you, Woody.
Okay. Lazen. Is Paul coming? Are you gonna rep? Okay, sure, that's okay.
Yeah, Lars Salmo, Paul Salmo's son. I've met all of you, Dave
Yeah.
Lake, John,
Yep.
seen your face around. Anyways, yeah, my name's Lars. And, yeah, I don't know, has anybody, every one of you had a chance to review why I'm here to some degree?
I did.
Okay, so yeah, just recently, as you know, the land is for sale down at the corner there, and somebody came to look at it and kind of pulled these notes out that we were unaware of, that we were even involved with the piece of land. So we kind of reviewed it and kinda like, oh, there's definitely something there that it would, make this land, I guess, a red flag for somebody either wanting to buy it or use it, develop it, or it's just, there's some notes in the deed and some records of, debris that the town of New Ipswich, I guess, agreed that they, I don't know how you wanna call it, abuse the land, use the land, and needed to fix the land, and it's, I don't know if anything was ever done with it.
Well, I think it was last, because as you read the minutes from a meeting that was attached here to this one here, George, I think, goes on to thank Tom Sari for removing the debris.
Yeah, I seen that.
I've spoke with Peter to see if there was anything down there.
This is the current road agent.
The current road agent. He said last year there were some utility poles up against our building, which he said he got rid of. I asked him about, because what I was concerned with more was the sand piles. Were they on their property or on our property?
Right.
He said he was gonna check.
Yeah.
He says if it's anything's, even though there was something in here about, I think back when Mr. Thayer owned it, he said that the town could have it 25 feet or something over the property, but I told Peter, make sure it's not on their property at all.
Right.
So that should have been taken care of.
Right, and I think it would come down to like a survey, and, you know, if you look there, it looks like the sand kinda goes into the property, which,
And we should get that cleaned out of there if it's like that now.
so I guess I'm just kind of representing Paul and also just wanting to like work with the town. But at the same time, this definitely raised some like red flags of like, all right, there's something here.
You wanna schedule a walkthrough?
Schedule a walkthrough, I think would be great. Just wanna put everything out in the open and just say, all right, this is something that's recorded in the deeds. Is it in fact a clean parcel of land? And as far as the water runoff,
The water runoff has, I think if you read through those letters, has nothing to do with the town. In other words, I saw the documentation in there that, I think it was Mr. Thayer was saying, well, when they built the school, the water drains to the ditch goes to the culvert goes
right,
to your
it's just
property.
increased.
Right, and the state acknowledged that, hey, they have no control over what flows through the culverts.
Right, and then the detention pond, I'm not sure if that was ever even built.
I don't know, I don't,
It just says with the aid of a detention pond, so
but that would have been at the school, no?
you would have thought
Yeah.
it would have been
Yeah.
on that side, but just looking, there's no detention pond.
Yeah.
So this is coming from the state view of it, not necessarily the engineer, whoever did the school. So yeah, I think a walkthrough would be great. As far as, I guess, just closure on this, that, you know, as far as like, is this in fact, like, the water is a factor. There's a few more things as far as the sand pile, the PCBs, like testing of soil. I don't know to what extent somebody would go to like testing the soils. Did anybody?
Nothing in that.
Right, nothing in this.
That I
Like,
saw
it's
that
just so-
anybody
It's
ever
just
did
been
it.
so long ago.
And is it speculation, or did somebody know that it was?
It looks like it very well could be speculation.
Yeah.
But it also is recorded. So it's just like, all right, let's just try to put an end to all this speculation.
Mhm.
And why is it recorded, or, you know?
That's what I couldn't understand, other than maybe because it allowed the town to encroach on the land. That's the only reason, because I
And there
said the
was-
same thing, why was this ever recorded?
Right, right,
You
and
know?
there was a relationship between Thayer and the town, and he
Yeah.
was willing to give him time, and, but maybe he recorded it, so. At the same time, it's definitely something that's gonna come up again to someone else, and, yeah, I just wanna resolve it, I guess. I'm pretty flexible on time as far as a walk into land. Ultimately, I guess I just wanna like be at peace with, you know, after a walkthrough, if another meeting needs to be scheduled or whatever, just to figure out as far as this recorded deed, how to just have another piece of paper saying,
Clear it up.
alright, everything's good to go. Like this is a clean vacant piece of land. So, that's kind of
What
what,
works with your schedules?
Depends on when we're looking.
Time of day.
Do you want to do it a night before a meeting, or do you want to do it a different night?
How long do you think it'll take? 30 minutes, maybe?
If we can get it done in 30 minutes, I can do it on before the meeting, but
Right.
if it's longer.
Were you planning to meet on the night of the 28th before that other session you talked about?
Well, we talked about this, one of the things I had, did you ever check with the school if that auditorium was available?
No, I apologize, I didn't. I thought,
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to push that date,
yeah.
because we wanna make sure we give plenty of notice.
I'm flexible on my end, so.
I mean, if we do it on a different night, we do the 22nd, Wednesday the 22nd.
27.
Uh,
Yeah.
Wednesday's not gonna be a good day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that works.
Do you think we can do it in less than an hour?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would think so.
You wanna do Monday, Tuesday, next week?
14th?
Yeah,
Sure.
That work for you?
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll just make it work.
We'll meet over at the,
5 o'clock.
Old Town,
Yeah,
old
right at the shed
garage,
there.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, if there's anything else that, I don't know, if Dave needs like further review or you think of something, maybe we'll just do a quick little chat there.
I'll see
As far
if
as
we can have,
the town,
Peter there.
yeah, Peter, and then, good, thank you guys.
All right,
Great.
very
Thank you
good.
so much.
Yep.
The one thing we gotta look at is, there's a tree on the garage.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's his property or ours. Okay, the highway summer schedule. I asked Peter to forward, let me go get it out of
Yeah,
there.
it was in
Hang
that
on.
other folder.
Tonight, we were all in the same deal. Can you move our?
We have the third thing down. So we've got highway summer schedule, May highway report, and then Mountain View Drive is on there. So you're coming up quick.
Very good.
Yeah, these other items are primarily administrative.
Well, that's an old person that used to live there, you know, this Mr. John Beeser over there. He used to live on it.
I did. Doesn't change my opinion about some things, though.
Was he, huh?
No.
request that they start their 4 10-hour work days as soon as possible, that they can begin working to finish the projects in time for the paving. I want to thank you all for your support of the selectmen give us during the year. And typically, I think in the past, we've run this from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. So you start a few weeks early. Let's say say they started it next week. Be 2 weeks early.
You want to do that, stick to the same schedule?
Well, as long as they're gonna do the stuff, I mean, really, what does 2 weeks matter? You know, my only issue is, you know, some of the stuff that's listed on there, was not properly done, so. They spent a lot of time.
Well, they have been on Kenny Gibbs. They got the dig safe number now for the Old Town Hall to put in the drainage. I saw BDM sweeping the roads. Stowe Road, Hubbard Pond, and clean the ditches on this road as well as putting stone on Collins Road and
I don't know-
Wilson Road.
I
So
don't know
they not ditch.
I don't know what ditches they're
It's all
talking
right.
about.
It's Hubbard Pond.
Well, no, I mean, well, it's the thing. My only issue is like I haven't driven Stoll or any of the other ones, but all that grading work that they spent an entire day doing lasted not even a week because we got heavy rain and there was no place for the water to go, so it went right back out to the middle of the road. So,
Did you go and talk with Peter?
no. But I mean, it's just, so what I'm saying is I have no problem. But
Yeah.
I mean, don't
Yeah.
tell me you clean the ditches when there's no ditches on the road. So what
Yeah.
ditches are you cleaning? And
Maybe it was on the other roads.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, but I have no problem if they start
Yeah.
next week.
Good.
You good with that?
Yeah.
If you could let them know, so they'll,
Starting the
we'll have
13th.
a motion that the DPW will be, you say the 13th, will begin, working the 4 10-hour days, beginning the week of May 13th, and it will end on the week of September 2nd,
Yeah.
including the week of September 2nd. May Highway Report. His letter here.
I think that was a
That was the letter we just
Yeah.
looked at, right?
Yeah, you just looked at.
Okay, Mountain View Drive. Swimming pool filter. What was with the pool filter?
I think we've
There's
got
2
quotes.
estimates.
Well, let's hit Mountain View Drive and reduce the pool
Mhm.
filter. You all here from Mountain View Drive?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I've read this letter. It's quite lengthy, so I won't read it all. We have signatures. You're asking for the town to put this on the rebuilding paving program the town has. And the Board of Selectmen has always been to the point that we're trying to get all of the through roads completed before doing roads that just serve development. A few things that were listed in here that are not correct, they're emphatically incorrect, is the town does not do any upgrading on Class 6 roads. Class 6 roads are non-town maintained. We're not even allowed to do it on there unless it's an emergency, that it's detrimental to something else. For an example, last year or the year before, when we had major flooding, old Binney Hill Road that comes out of the Binney Land Preserve washed out some residents' property that's down on the Class 5 section of road, so we cleaned that up. There was notes in here that the Timbertop Road was a gravel road, which we paved last year, and that was as well as Greenbrier, and Greenbrier was a paved road, and Timbertop was a paved road for about 40% of it, and that got done last year. And that's a through road to Ringe, as well as Greenbrier is a through road through the trailer park and back to Stoll Temple Road. If you guys have anything to add on that.
No, I just, one of the other comments was that by paving the road, we're, how's it worded? But by paving the roads, it creates additional fees that the town has to pay for taking care of a paved road. Paved roads are actually cheaper to maintain than gravel roads. Gravel roads have to be graded and resurfaced several times during the year, where a paved road does not. So there were inaccuracies in that. But and then yes, I did drive the road, and you're right. I'm not a road expert, but I am someone who took the road at the posted speed, passed a car that was coming towards me at the time. I did not risk my life or limb going around that curve that doesn't have the shoulder on it.
I've ended up in that hole a couple of times, so it's, drive it every day. Somebody comes around the corner a little bit on the wrong side of the road. I've destroyed my rims on my car from it. It's not, that corner is ridiculous. That something needs to be done about that. That is not safe.
You talking the curve at the...
Right at where 35 Mountain View starts, right when you start heading up the hill around that corner.
Yeah.
The water, the rain, it's just washing out. I mean, it's deteriorating badly. And I know you guys came and did somewhat of a temporary fix, but it's still, there's a big hole there, and you fall in it and you get sucked right in.
If a driver were going down the hill,
Heading down the hill, correct.
okay, it'd be
Yeah.
on,
And if somebody's coming around that corner a little bit on the wrong side and you try to get over to avoid it, and I've been sucked in twice.
okay, but you're, and I'm just trying to envision this in my mind, because as John is saying, I went up there and I drove it, okay, and I've been up there previously, so it's
But
not
you
first
drive
time.
it 20 times a day, I mean,
I'm not here to argue, I'm just
I'm just
here
saying,
just to let you know
it's just
that I've driven-
unacceptable.
that we drove the road, okay, to see it,
Yeah.
okay? And if I'm understanding what you're saying, is what that really needs is a guardrail.
It needs more road. I mean, there's no road. The road is missing.
Yeah, how about?
There's part of the road that fell off. It's missing.
How
So,
about-
yeah, a guardrail would probably help, but put some road back would help as well. I mean, part of the road is missing.
But is the gravel there?
No, there's nothing there.
It's just kind of
Dipped in.
dipped, yeah.
Okay,
Drop is over
Let-
15 inches.
I will go out with the DPW director and we'll take a look at it, okay? As far, when I drove the road, there was no dip, there was no concern that if I'm going here, I'm gonna go off the edge of the road, okay? Just
Okay.
give me the benefit of the doubt, okay?
Yep.
We'll go out, we'll take a look at it, and if it needs to be rebuilt up with gravel or a temporary bituminous patch put there to make it so that it's travelable, yes, we should be doing that. But to say that we're going to go and not do the through roads and jump onto that to rebuild the road, I don't think that's what the board has agreed to do.
You don't believe the road is at all deteriorated then? You think it's great? The road's in great shape?
I did not say that, but are there other roads in town that serve developments that the roads are deteriorated?
Probably.
There are, and trust me, is that everybody is living on a road.
It just would be nice for all the taxes we pay to actually have a decent road, that's all. That's all I'm asking.
And you understand that we do incrementally what we
Yeah.
get with the amount of
You have
funds
to
we
understand
have.
our frustration, that's all.
Every time, and I mean every time they plow and there's snow on the ground, we lose more of the road.
Yeah, the second layer they add or whatever, it's
Second
just,
layer
it's
they
all
added
over our
that
yard,
laid on.
it's just,
You were there, I think. It just,
it's all
So
big
it-
chunks missing.
It's all alongside the road.
we walk it, we can step down.
So what they put down for temporary, then when winter comes, it gets plowed up, is what I'm
Not
hearing.
temporary.
They never put,
We're riding on, the base coat is gone in some areas, and there are many patches where we're riding
Exactly.
simply on
Yeah.
base coat.
Exactly.
It is, the road is gone, and it's not just a foot on the edge of the road, it's 5 feet in one section, it goes more than halfway across the road. There is no road.
and
Well,
And that is absolute eyesore along the edge of the road where all of the tar, chunks of tar, if the highway department wants to come out and clean it up, that'd be lovely, because it looks like an eyesore. All you see going down the entire road is mounds of
big
tar
chunks of hot top.
on the edge of the road.
We'll take a look at it.
I also have some comments. Mountain View Drive was on the list of roads to be paved and has been for over 5 years in the town report. We have people up there that are voting on road money under the assumption that their road is going to be done because it's been sitting on the list. It was scheduled to be done in 2018.
Are you talking about the recommendations from the road committee?
I'm talking about the highway report. Read the highway report where it lists the roads scheduled for paving.
But that's not what the Board of Selectmen have voted to do. And in
And
2018,
what I
let me
am saying-
finish.
I
In
had the floor.
2018,
I had the
it
floor.
was not on the list to be paved.
Read the 2017 town report, please, and read the town report that just came out. Okay? It is in that report
Mhm.
as well.
And that is what the DPW director wrote in there, prior to the Board of Selectmen indicating which roads would be done.
Then perhaps the DPW director should be conferring, or someone should approve the statements he's putting in the town report, because you have people voting on roads with the understanding that their road is coming up in 5 years. It's very disingenuous.
When we sat at the deliberative session, we listed off every road that was on our list to be paved for 2019. We said exactly which roads it was and what we were going to do.
And when did you have a public discussion that took Mountain View Drive off of the list and put Timber Top on, and put Ken Street and Gibbs Street on, which are dirt roads, and now you're going to construct paved roads using what money? Because the money that was voted on is for reconstruction and maintenance of roads, okay? Class 5 roads, paved, not the construction of paved roads from a dirt road.
It doesn't say that we are not allowed to reconstruct a gravel road to a paved road. Read the warrant articles.
I did read the warrant.
Okay, it doesn't say that.
So
And
what you're
both
saying
Ken
is
and Gibbs
you
are class 5 roads.
Reconstructing a dirt road and making a paved road, which the town then carries the tax burden for. And those are through roads to where? A loop?
If you
And
know,
loop?
if you know Gibbs Avenue
I do.
goes through from Turnpike Road to Appleton Road. Appleton Road continues on to Boynton Hill, which goes to Temple. And that is why Gibbs, Ken, and Appleton are on this year's paving schedule. Did you know that? I'm sure you do.
I do.
Okay.
I do know that.
So
And the
they're
pu-
through roads.
And the public discussion as far as when we were going to, what roads we decided. First of all, we never put Mountain View Drive on. The DPW director put Mountain View Drive on. The
So,
selectmen
you know
sat
what?
here
You're
in a
going like
meeting.
this.
The selectmen sat in a meeting and discussed which roads we felt needed to be done this year.
Could you tell me when that meeting took place and where the minutes are for that meeting? Because I could not find minutes for any meeting that discussed roads. I saw roads being put on the agenda for several meetings, and they were never discussed.
They were
They
discussed
were
here.
discussed, and because it's not written down in a meeting minute doesn't mean it wasn't discussed. And it does not need to be in a meeting minute, okay?
It's not even on videos.
Well, they should be, because we discussed them here.
We discussed it in
Then
public
please tell me
session.
Please tell me
You
what-
can go through the videos, Becky, and find it, okay? I can't tell you we did it on such and such a date, but we discussed it here at the meeting.
And then we just, like I said, then we discussed it again at the deliberative session. So if anyone had a problem with what roads we chose, the deliberative session is a time and place to bring that up and discuss it.
The deliberative session is not to discuss the roads. It's to discuss the warrant article.
Okay, so if the warrant articles, we state the warrant articles and these are the roads we're going to pave with that money, that is a time that it can be discussed in public. Just like the
Now,
meetings
you should
here.
Put the roads in the warrant article then.
No, because as in this case this year, last week, we opened up the bids for the paving, okay? The bids, based on what we had put out, come in higher than the warrant article. So, if I can't do one of the roads, it goes on to next year.
And bumps something else.
Exactly.
And
You know as well as everyone else that we cannot expend more than what the voters approve.
Oh, trust me, I do know. I also want to say that the road, in our opinion, is insufficient on that corner, as per the RSA's, which means damages resulting from going around that corner and with no shoulder until it is properly assessed, which was supposed to have been done within 72 hours of you receiving notice of that letter, are the liability of the town.
They're the liability of the town only if it's considered a danger. And when we looked at it, it is not considered a danger.
Who looked at it?
I've been up there.
You
John's
are
been
not
up there.
qualified per RSA to say whether it is
The RSA
dangerous
does
or
not give the qualifications.
It does. It says. It
Why
does.
don't you read it?
Okay, I will. Upon receipt of such notice of insufficiency, and unless the highway agents or street commissioners determine in good faith that no such insufficiency exists, the municipality shall immediately cause proper danger signals to be placed to warn persons by day or night of such insufficiency, and shall, within 72 hours thereafter, develop a plan for repairing such highway, bridge, or sidewalk, and shall implement such plan in good faith and with reasonable dispatch until the highway, bridge, or sidewalk is no longer insufficient, as defined by RSA 23192.
So there's nothing in there about the qualifications of the person that reviews
Highway
what's there.
agents.
Yes, and she just.
Highway agents or street commissioners. Are you a
Right.
highway agent or street commissioner?
No.
Any of you?
Street commissioners are only
I
in
know.
cities. We don't have, our highway agent is a DPW director.
Okay. So has the highway agent made that determination? You're
That-
telling me you made that determination?
Correct.
And
correct.
has the highway agent made that determination?
Not that I'm aware of, and if you'd like a determination from the DPW director, we can have him do that.
Well, I'm reading the RSA,
Right.
okay? Within
But it
72
doesn't say
hours-
that the selectmen can't be the agents to go out there.
Nobody said you could go.
Okay.
Couldn't go out there. It says you cannot make a determination.
It doesn't say the selectmen cannot make a determination.
Unless the highway agents determine in good faith that no insufficiency exists. You're telling
Right.
me that you did, and you
Correct.
are not a highway agent.
Okay, then we'll have the DPW director go,
There you go.
okay?
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And so
Anything
you have
else?
no plan within 72 hours. That dip, you know, the other thing, comment I wanted to make to you is you're driving in a truck. You come around the corner, you may be able to see that that drops off. If you're in a passenger car, you cannot. Just a comment.
So I shouldn't be in my truck when I go there, or is that okay?
I don't care what you're in.
All right,
What I'm saying is that if someone is determining whether or not it is safe, and whether or not that dip is discoverable, they need to look at the vehicles that are going there. I've seen the postman go around with one wheel on and one wheel off, because school buses go up around that corner.
Quite a bit.
Now the road is going, on both sides of the road, there's degradation.
And this has been an ongoing process for at least 4 or 5 years. I get visitors who will come once a year, and the comments that they make is, your road's getting visibly narrower every time we come. And I think, you know, if you drive up the street periodically, you won't notice that, but if you live on the street and you're going up of it multiple times of the day, it's noticeable, especially after the winter. You know, the plow takes a huge toll on the road every winter. People's mailboxes, I mean, this year they took out part of my driveway because I didn't have some of the sticks put down before the first snow, so it is an issue for us.
Try doing it with a school bus, a trash truck, a delivery truck, FedEx trucks, UPS trucks. Try going around that corner. I don't care how fast or slow you're going.
but that road was constructed as it was. The curve is always going to be there.
Yes.
The
but
issue
road
at
was
hand is to make sure,
This road
It's
missing,
missing,
that's
yes.
my
right,
thing.
so the
road
issue
missing.
at, hear me out, I just want
And
to.
no shoulder.
You done?
I am.
Okay. The issue at hand is to make sure that the road is of ample width for vehicles to travel. Am I hearing you correctly? You've got hesitation. Did I not get it right?
You're not addressing the shoulder.
I'm addressing this gentleman, please.
Well, I'm thinking of every time, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
Every time that the driver of the plow comes up in the wintertime, we miss some more of the road.
Okay.
That's my concern. I'm not kidding.
Mhm.
It's every time some little piece is missing. Or even in where it's been very nice towards the middle of the road, heading down towards the turnaround, which we used to live at.
Yep.
That's, what, 6 or 8 feet from the side, it's this much missing. So, you know, and every time that the plow comes, there's more.
Right.
I mean, some of it gets pushed over into the drop off, but most of it just stays there, so it's.
What I'm hearing though is that the pavement's gone in areas, whether it's on the shoulder, in the middle, whatever. That can be repaired. They can cut out sections and repave it, you know?
Sure.
But next winter, I can't guarantee you that a plow doesn't catch an edge and take out a piece. Well, then the following spring, then they'll have to fix it again until that road gets rebuilt.
Right, exactly.
And that's what I'm trying to say, is that any of our roads, whether it's been a road that's been rebuilt or a road that has not been rebuilt, the town needs to make sure they're passable safely. Okay. Because it's got some gravel or a piece of a top coat may have come off, those things happen. I can see that on 93, never mind on our back roads. But then they gotta go out and they've gotta repair it. And so that's what we'll do. But I'd like to go out there with the,
Telling me you're gonna repair
That's-
the sections where the top coat is missing? Is that what you're
What I
saying?
am telling you is this. I'm going to go out there with the DPW director and look at the roads. Then we'll assess what can be done. That's what I'm saying. Don't read anything into it.
I was just trying to clarify,
Okay,
because it sounded like that's what you were saying,
and
Mr.
when it
Lawson.
leaves here and hits your ears, I wanna make sure we're on the same page.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's what it sounded like to me, what you were saying to me.
Okay.
And if I can remember correctly, on that corner, so you say there's no shoulder, I get that. So it drops off, but then doesn't it have a sharp uptake as well into someone's yard? Like it's not flat out. Like you don't just drop off and then it's flat after that into someone's yard.
You're in the ditch.
I get that. I'm saying,
And then-
I'm saying beyond the culvert,
There's somebody's backyard.
right? Okay, but it goes, it's up, right? It's not
It's up.
flat. It goes up. So the issue we have, and I get this, and this is what was my comment when I looked at it, is filling in the road to give you a shoulder actually fills in your culvert in that spot. I don't think there ever was a true shoulder in that spot that I remember. There was, it didn't drop off. The drop off wasn't as bad.
3 or 4 feet from the culvert. I mean, there's a section there's a big section that's gone.
Right, because but what I'm saying is that to give you an adequate shoulder, I'm just thinking of what the solutions we have, and that's something they'll have to look at is what can we do to fill that spot in and not fill the culvert in.
But what we used to have is coming down Mountain View Drive, and it turned. There was a ditch in there,
Right.
and that followed over to the left, and then it went over to somebody has a pond down there, and that's
Yeah, the Malays in their yard.
that's where it went to. Now, if the top has gravel in it and it's just shooting over the road, it's something we'll look at to correct.
Well, there's about 2 or 3 cars that I know of that went over that side, and that's what's pushed the,
In other words, they didn't make the turn; they went straight.
so they went around, yes. Well,
Yeah.
You get sucked in.
It gets, yeah, you live.
Yeah,
with
and
You're trying to go, somebody's coming around and you try to go to the right and you're going 5 miles an hour, but still you get sucked in because there's just not enough road there. You got a bus coming at you, you get sucked in. It's just.
But just so I can understand, when you say you get sucked in, is it if you're going down Mountain View, is it that you're going this way, or is it that when you're at the corner and you're trying to go over?
You're trying to get over because you got a school bus,
Yeah,
or oil truck,
yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
coming, and you're trying to get over, and then you get sucked into
It
that.
grabs your
gully there.
grabs your
Sucks to the
passenger
right.
side
It
view.
sucks to the
Yeah,
right.
to the right.
It sucks you right off the
Yeah.
side of the road. 'Cause it's
I don't know
just
how
a
many-
huge drop. It's like at least an 18-inch drop in places. It's just there's road and then a big 18-inch drop. Nothing.
Exactly.
There's a, on the other end of the road, there's a spot that, with a culvert that overflows continually, that's been cleared out, and now there is, the pavement has been chewed up so bad, the water runs right over the cul-de-sac at the end of,
Oh, you're at the top of the road.
the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
end of the road.
that's
So describe that again.
That's what the road's missing.
There's a culvert that overflows, and the water comes up over the road onto the cul-de-sac. The bottom of the gentleman's driveway that lives there, the road, the top coat is pretty much gone now for 8 or 10 feet, probably into the, more than the middle of the road, where the plow has chunked it off. Okay, so there is no, he gets to the bottom of his driveway and he hits base coat, if he hits base coat. That has been a chronic problem, and part of it is because when they plow, they put the snow into where the water flows out of sometimes in order to make the cul-de-sac big enough for the buses. It's been a chronic problem. I would also ask that you please have someone clean up the side of the road. It is disgusting to have so much tar. It's embarrassing to this town. It's an eyesore, all the way up and down the road. Is that something you could look into?
We'll take a look, but we're not into cleaning sides of the road. That's
It's
our
not-
highway.
It's your tar.
It's just what the
Correct.
plows placed it there.
It's just like it's our sand, but we don't go and sweep it off the lawns,
No, but you do sweep it off the road.
off the road.
And you did
All right.
you did have a sweeper come up
Mm-hmm.
that was traveling so fast, I don't know what he could have possibly picked up, just so you know.
Is there sand on your road?
Yes, there is.
I'll make a note to
It's
take a
so
look
heavy,
at
I
it.
don't know how he could have possibly, I mean, it's,
It's a vacuum and it's a sweeper, so
It was
if,
flying,
if there was,
not a couple of weeks ago,
yeah, should have been last week.
but it might have been last week.
All right, we answer your questions?
I would request that the letter be posted to the minutes,
We don't need to post the letter.
then you should read it into the minutes.
And I said it was too lengthy that we wouldn't, but we would address the issues. Okay, we have other things to be going through. Okay?
But as us people as taxpayers, it's not important to you?
It is. Why would we be here trying to
You aren't
come?
even, you aren't gonna do the letter or whatever, so.
We've read your letter. That's
There-
why
there's-
we were able to discuss it with you this evening.
There are over 35 signatures on that letter representing every single house on Mountain View Drive.
I understand that. We understand that.
People
You've
are
got a
concerned.
concern with the road. We're addressing it, okay? And I think that's the crux of it, right? The road's the issue. The town will address it. We're not gonna rebuild it, so we understand that, at least not this year. And I'm not saying it's next year, so don't read into that either, okay? But we will address the road. Fair enough?
okay.
Very good. And after we repair it, if there are any other issues, please come back,
Very well.
okay?
Okay.
Thank you. The next thing we had on this agenda was, I don't know if you had a chance to read this. Documents regarding the utility pole licensure process and whatnot.
I did read that.
It was, at first I'm trying to understand what that whole process is. Good night.
Good night, Ron.
What that whole process is about. And when I finally got, I think, to the last two documents where I think one of them was from the attorney on how things are done and why, it kind of made sense, but just have something come from Jim and then to read it and say, well, this is what we should do. I thought we should discuss it.
Well, I think, what we need to do is find out the whys and wherefores within it. I mean, it's a little convoluted.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not sure it was 100% boilerplate, where we could just, fill in the blanks and sign it off. Should we have council review the thing?
And I guess at first that's what I thought, but then I'm saying, well, council's not representing us on the whole utility taxation process.
Right.
It was that DTC, I think was the initials for their firm. And I guess I started thinking, well, should they come in and explain to us why we're doing this? Why we need to do it? Because, and I don't know where it stands right now, but there was stuff in the legislature regarding how utilities are gonna be able to be taxed. I don't know if this is hinging on that, if this has nothing to do with it, I'm not clear.
I couldn't determine whether or not we had a time frame on this thing as to when we had to act. I mean,
I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything on this. I did see when we had to counter offer, there was a time frame on that we had to
Yeah.
do it before.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd lose our opportunity. But I don't see it on this. And like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not. You start reading it, and it definitely helps your insomnia. It's a lot of legal speak and double talk and not, but it's so yeah, I would feel a lot better just having someone sit down in front of me and go, this is why we're doing it, this is what it's telling you, this is why it has to be worded that way.
And this is what I got out of it, okay? First of all, we're in New Ipswich, we're not in Manchester. We do tax, and we're allowed to tax Fairpoint. They have the poles, they have the telephone. Well, I say Fairpoint and Eversource. Well, the only other attacher, as they keep referring to, that I'm aware of, is the cable company.
Right, Comcast or
Well, I'm not sure with our franchise agreement that we have with the cable company that we're able to put a tax on them, whereas we're giving a franchise fee every year.
mm-hmm.
So that's,
There may be other attachers.
Right, because Consolidated Communications is out here now too.
well, that's what I was referring to as Fairpoint.
Like when,
No.
Consolidated bought Fairpoint.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
but like when I was involved with the Fast Roads project,
Yeah.
They actually, got licensing to put their fiber on poles to connect all of the schools and the municipal buildings from Orford to Ringe, and had to go through this whole process.
So who put it up?
They contracted with a firm.
No, I mean, what organization or what?
It was New Hampshire Fast Roads LLC.
Which I'm presuming is a
It was-
subsidiary of the state?
Nope, it was a nonprofit that was formed when we applied for and were awarded a grant through the rural utilities to try to bring broadband to rural communities.
That was Ranger saying?
It was
Not here.
right,
Okay, that's, 'cause I'm,
but what I'm saying is that there are some independent companies that are running broadband that are not the phone company or the cable company, and Fairpoint or Eversource are gonna sell as much space on those poles as they can
Yeah,
because they
okay.
make money.
Yeah.
So they don't care who wants to buy it.
and I think that's what the gist of this is that, well, we are able to tax each one of the attachers to
Okay.
it.
Okay. So, my question is, not having seen this type of document before, who would we go to explain things we have not seen before, or who has an understanding of this beyond ourselves?
I would say that, that firm that's been representing us in the case with the,
With Eversource.
yeah,
Ask them to come in and explain, or at least,
that DTC lawyer, Donnie
Donnie
Tucker
Tucker
and
and
Chandela.
I mean, have you been satisfied with their services?
It's a
It's a regional, they
Okay.
represent a bunch of towns
it's
that
like
are
40,
in.
yeah, it's like 40
Yeah.
towns. And
I like the way the price breaks down though.
Okay, well, that's a
We
good
get a bill
sign.
for like $35.
You
and
can
it's-
live with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I would say
Yeah, let's ask the question and
if they can, great.
see if they can provide us some guidance.
Okay, could you schedule,
Sure.
see if they can come in?
And if we do have a time frame where we have to respond with a reasonable counteroffer.
This isn't that. All they're trying to get us to do was go through this process, public hearings, accepting it, so that then it puts Eversource and I guess Consolidated now to say, provide this information. How we go about taxing them would be back to the assessors.
Let's do it.
I didn't realize Consolidated was Fairpoint.
Yeah.
I thought they were just one of those piggybackers that got the rights to, you could, because they've got like the one out in Mason or Temple that's trying to give them high-speed internet, and this one's doing like all these things. So I didn't realize they had bought, because I haven't been with Fairpoint in I don't know how many years.
Well, I had Fairpoint for my DSL, and then they got sold, and it was Consolidated.
Yeah, no,
I still call it Verizon.
yeah. Well, they didn't at the time when I was looking to put internet out by me. You plug it in, like you don't exist. Yeah, one of those. So
Bob Close.
yeah, he had one for a
was
while.
involved
Yeah.
with
Yeah, and
wireless.
yeah, NH Wisp.
And
Yeah.
we had that at Huddle when it first came out.
Yeah,
In fact, we still have the pole for him to broadcast.
Yeah.
yeah, because they came out and looked at my property too, because he thought he might be able to get high enough on mine to then shoot out that whole area. Like,
What is he, Pac-Man? I'm not gonna think it's
Yeah.
the other one.
yeah.
Yeah,
So he was trying to get a repeater out by me and the whole deal. So
I have Y Valley, which is
Yeah.
a different service, but it's the same thing. That's how I get my internet at home.
yeah.
It's called Y Value.
Y Valley,
Oh, Y Valley. Okay.
Brian Fouché out of Harrisville, I think.
Yeah, there was a guy that worked with me that, as a side thing, he did a Wi-Fi thing in Ringe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for his neighborhood.
Well, his father was the developer, and
Oh,
so
okay.
he,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew about that.
Yeah.
one,
and this isn't working now. Come on, I'm doing manually. I'd like to make a motion to have a 5-minute recess.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Time to walk around today. Enough time to get a glass of water anyway.
me see. This was the photo that Bob had dropped off last week regarding the road to the
Yep.
store for nature area. And I think the sign should stay there. That is the
Mm-hmm.
class 6 road. I did talk to Peter about it. He was saying that they were plowing all the way up to, there's a residence up there. And I told him it's a class 6 road, we're not supposed to be maintaining that. So that, and to take a look at that culvert that Gary had agreed was probably plugged.
Mhm.
So he was supposed to be looking at that.
I drove down. So, remember last year we had that gentleman come with the Purple Heart Society?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he told me where his house was, and I turned one road too early. So he lives in the there's like some duplexes and such, like one more road up and you turn, and he's in the back
Oh,
there.
Kenny Road?
Yeah, it could be Kenny Road, but like, yeah, so instead of turning up towards where Nick Kenny and them live, you go to the, so if you're going from here past the high school,
Yep.
I turned left.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
And so, and I turned left, and that was, but I turned one road too early to go left, and I went back in the Nussdorf area, and he told me, he says, when you go back there, you're gonna think you're in the wrong place. Keep going. So I went way back there.
That's rough.
Trust me, that culvert's the least of the worries in that Nussdorfer nature area.
Yes.
I went, and then I found like there's no houses
How
back
far
here.
back was he?
But no,
He's not there.
no, he's not
no,
there.
no.
You go one more road up and you turn and you go back and there's like a development of like duplexes and stuff.
Not where they put up that pre-engineered metal building for that guy's garage.
No, this is an actual road. You then you turn down a road. It's kind of across from where Daffodils is, or
Oh,
you know,
the one that says no trespassing?
yeah, you turn down there and you go down that road and there's like a development of like duplexes. Nice. I mean, it's a nice little community, but that's
How
where
far
it
did
was.
you get through? Just out of curiosity.
I went pretty far back. I was
Okay.
in my my little Ranger, so I'm like, well, let's see where it goes. And I got pretty far back. I mean, I had to like go up on the side to avoid big holes. But I mean,
Because that goes to Greenville.
yeah,
The-
I might have almost been
You
there.
across from Country Mile.
Yeah, I probably came pretty close. Yeah, because that connects to the old wildlife place.
Well, I once went down that road, and there was like a big ditch across it.
Mhm.
And I said, oh, it doesn't go anywhere. And I just turned around. I didn't think
Yeah.
anybody ever lived on there.
Yeah, no,
You did do it, huh?
I went way back there. Yeah, I was, and at a certain point, I'm like, yeah, I don't think anyone lives back here. And I
Yeah.
turned back around, went one more, like barely anything. Went, oh, here's the road, and then turned down. He lived back there, but yeah. So I said that when he was talking about that last week, I'm like, that's the least of the worries for that area. I mean, it's definitely something for people. I don't know if they're allowed to four-wheel back there or what's allowed and what isn't, but it's definitely not not something I would hike. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
Maybe. Horse.
Yeah, I would say like horses you could bring back there. That'd be nice for it'd be a nice place to like ride a horse or something like that, but definitely not hike by any means.
Okay, Mountain View swimming pool filter.
Yeah, there were 2 bids for that, both around $20,000.
Yeah, but I spoke to Peter, and he said, we don't need a filter.
That's what I thought he said.
He said,
too.
what we need to do is just, the media needs to get changed out.
Yeah.
And he says, reconfirm that my memory's not gone, but he told me we buy it by like pallet loads to change it out.
Right. No,
But I
this,
thought he said that they would do it, the highway department would do
yeah,
it.
no, there are 2 quotes in there to replace the actual filter system.
Yeah.
And one of them was like a 2-phase thing, and one was just this is what it is. But both of them were $20,000 plus.
We didn't.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
So you don't have them right here, do you want?
It's. I'll go grab it.
Yeah?
It's
You have a key?
Yeah. I think that was something that maybe Brianna or the rec department put out a while back. But I
think
do
Mark's
remember
been-
stuff because the one bid is like probably a year old.
Okay.
The older.
Yeah, because
I seem to remember something in the capital improvement program that it was listed
That
as.
we might need it in.
Yeah, that's probably where it came from. And I remember interviewing the pool person at the time.
Is that Brianna?
I don't
Yeah.
remember the name.
Yeah.
And they said, oh yeah, we'll need it, but we need to do something to the building it's housed in to access the filter. I think you had to pull the roof or something. I mean, that's my recollection, but could be faulty.
Yeah, yeah. But it probably makes sense because there is no, from my memory, there is no overhead door where that filter is.
Yeah.
And there's a wall that divides
Concrete.
the storage
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
there's a
filter.
concrete, and I think the floor in there is busted up a bit too.
Well, that whole building, I think, is just on a floating slab, and that's
Yeah.
why I remember we've had it repointed just to hold it together and paint it.
Yeah. Mm.
I'll check with Peter tomorrow on that.
I brought this down. I wasn't sure if we were still gonna get to those tonight or not.
Is one of those dated recently?
One's dated March of 2019.
Okay.
March 27th, yeah. And then this one's dated 2012.
Right, oh,
Cause that was my recollection talking with Peter, is he's
Yeah.
saying there's nothing wrong with the filter, it's old, but he says what you need to do is change the media. Cause I think that was
Which is
the
just-
issue, was that remember when the water was getting cloudy last year or something?
Yeah, but he said I think that was because of that hole too, is it was sucking in air.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's 3,400 pounds of sand that need to go in.
yeah, and he said they've done it before.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a matter of.
Alright, I'll check.
yeah. Just double. I would say
Yeah.
check with him because yeah, I mean both bids, and which I think is what in that other email you got from
Yes,
like, interested
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
They mentioned that. I'm like, I don't know what that's what you said. I don't know what you're talking about. But I was like, oh, we could we gotten something.
who was the second one from?
They're both. It's,
Oh, they say,
yeah.
quality pools.
I mean, are they responding to request for proposals?
I think, like I said, I think it was. I mean,
Yeah, this one's 2012,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
this one's March of.
But I think one of the things was everyone
which
thought
leads me to believe that Mark Hopkins had.
it may have been Mark, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think again, what it was the pool got cloudy or whatever. But when they did the research, they found out it was just that pipe needed to be replaced, and it was sucking in dirt or air, and so it looked cloudy. But there really wasn't anything wrong with it. It wasn't.
Just had a broken pipe.
What do you call it? Rebounding quick enough.
We did get a letter here from April Merlino that she'd be interested in the gardening club. If there's anyone else out there, please put in your name, but I would like to ask Halata to contact her. And is there some direction that, first of all, well, I'll stay on that track. Direction we can give to her, maybe on a smaller project, if it's something she'd wanna handle just on her own without having others at this time. But then the other item, if you could ask Mark about, Mark had told me that, or Peter had told me, that, Mark and his wife wanted to donate the flowers for the bridge and the island in the center of town.
It's his wife's initiative.
His wife's initiative, okay. Can you follow up and see if,
Yeah, because I mean, if that's it, if they want to donate, and then Mrs. Merlino wants to be the person who tends to it and puts them, plants them, and I think that'd be great. Yeah, because I forgot where we were. We were somewhere just the other day, and all the tulips were up, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
All the different colored tulips, and I was like, oh, you know. But it's so funny. You drive through. I mean, I'm talking. I think we were going through Mass. So you go through Mass, and there's all these, you know, near Tingsboro, and all these places have tulips up. And you drive here, the green's up, but that's it. It's amazing what a
Couple
10, 15 minute
executives.
drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I think that'd be great. I mean, we're still close enough that daffodil season is coming up and things like that. So
I think I'd like to, if they're offering to donate that, is maybe pick another spot now. Let's
yeah.
kind of, so, any thoughts?
I don't know what. Did we do anything around the like the monuments and stuff? So if we're going to be at the monuments, for example, like the Civil War monument. Are there any? Is there available space there for doing like some nice plantings or something? Because I mean that's coming up in a few weeks. To be honest, I'm not that familiar with what areas in town are set
Well,
for.
Like, for example,
gardens.
Woody does the island that's on Main Street.
Yep.
There's another lady that does the one at the intersection of Binney Hill and Page Hill, that island there. We spoke, I think, recently about trying to do something near the park. But to me, it's wherever there's traffic and people can appreciate it. You know, you know, I think plants are short dollars to,
Yeah, I mean,
you know, say, oh, that looks
you know,
nice.
pick the
you know.
higher traffic areas first.
Yeah.
Ideas where?
Well, we got the bridge area down by Warwick, center of town, ball field area.
Something is the park.
Yeah, something around the park. See if we have some areas there that can be done without being people running over them. And then, like I said, then maybe if there's
Thinking
something.
maybe that front,
Along the courts area.
well, see, because Peter had suggested the park, and where the basketball court is from the road, that goes down. There's drainage down there or something, but I'm thinking further down, like on the corner of Playground and Turnpike,
Yeah.
seems to be an area where there's not a lot of foot traffic or car traffic that, okay, you can do something here and it's out of the way of getting
Yeah.
damage, possibly.
No, I think that'd be good.
Okay, corner of Playground and Temple.
Yeah.
Temple,
Yeah.
okay, not Turnpike.
No, I say not
I was
Turnpike,
hungry.
no, Temple.
And just because you mentioned basketball, I passed by the courts. I think it was Sunday night around 10 o'clock. Lights were still on.
First time?
No, it's just I would figure. I was thinking, you know, maybe they hadn't changed the timer.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, but there is one that stays on. It's the one by the pool house.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
No, this was the basketball court was
Yeah.
lit up.
Security purposes.
Yeah.
You
Well, I knew.
mentioned that to Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
all the time clocks should have been changed.
Yeah, I thought the basketball court, and this may just be something I thought we did. I thought there was like one of those crank timers on one of the light switches. That, sorry, again,
Could be. I'm not aware of that.
Yeah.
Where it was all on timers, but they're
Yeah.
manual time. Like nowadays, they have photo cell on,
Right,
time
yeah.
clock off, and it
Yeah.
takes care of it. But
Right. I just wonder whether
yeah.
one of those ones. Where if you're out there, great, give it a crank and play basketball, and then
Well, we do have a 9 o'clock curfew too.
Well, that's the other. When we get to that.
Okay, I'm just saying.
yeah.
Investment policy, town. I'd like to go to town ordinances only because it's been on our list
That could be
for quite a while.
extended discussion, but
Yeah.
okay.
You've got them there. had these all downloaded so that they'd be all set.
Mhm.
Okay, here we go. The curfew ordinance, first one there, Bert.
Okay, all right.
This was established in 81 as a 9 o'clock PM curfew on all town property in the town of New Ipswich. Well, I know there's many times boards are not out of here by 9 o'clock. The rec department runs programs during the summer, movie nights, and I'm assuming they're down there well after 9 o'clock. Should this be reworded?
How about just, I looked at that and it just occurred to me, except during, we just need to add the phrase, except during sanctioned events. And the other thing I was going to say across the board here is when we review them and come to an agreement, we should say modified on such a date or confirmed on such and such a date, so that a future board 5 years from now can say, oh yeah, it was looked at.
Yeah, and some of them I did see have that, amended or modified or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'd be in agreement to have
Yeah.
some type of wording.
Yeah. Except during town sanctioned events.
I'm just thinking sanctioned versus,
Approved.
Well, I don't wanna say it, well, maybe,
uh,
however you want.
scheduled. Like, we schedule meetings, we schedule movie night, we
Okay,
Scheduled is fine.
yeah,
too.
except,
yeah.
So we just add that into the end of the sentence and
yeah.
Do you need to print, you wanna mark it right on there?
Sure, yeah,
That way
they're
they-
all
Yeah.
in electronic format.
it's fine.
We had a breach of peace ordinance, which was adopted March 9th, 1993, based on a ballot question.
Yeah.
And that one there, I did not have any notes on for that one.
Well,
Did you?
I did look through it and I looked through the other ones and I made a note. We also have 2 fireworks ordinances, permissible fireworks ordinances and fireworks prohibition ordinance, which seem like they would all kind of go together or should flow together. I combine them into
Yeah.
a single ordinance.
Well, and I agree, and if we can get to that as we get there, because there's a couple of them like that.
Yeah.
I think the other one was parking. We had 2 different ones, and I'm saying, geez, if you just, yes, and we'll get to that one.
Okay.
So, breach of peace ordinance, did you have any comments on that one specifically?
I'm still hearing comments about shooting, and I really would like to reduce that down from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I know John has some issues, but it's also a safety issue. If you cannot see your target, what do you know about what's happening behind the target? And knowing that some of these shooting events are community events with little kids running around, I just don't feel safe with people shooting after dark, period.
I'm not a gun owner, but I didn't think you could.
Well, we're saying, actually, we have people shooting right up until 10 p.m.
Can't hunt.
You cannot hunt, but, target shooting even. After dark, I think is unsafe. I mean, I'd like to say dusk to dawn, but people have watches or cell phones or whatever, smartphones to tell the time. So I think time is more appropriate. And I know it says 10 o'clock in there somewhere, but
Between
Right.
the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. is in radios.
yeah, so I mean, I would like to go across the board and include shooting in there from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
I won't be in favor of that.
And again, I'm not a gun guy, okay, so I'm just gonna preface that, but like now it's, well, 7:30. In a few more weeks, I think it could be light out till 9 o'clock. So do we want to just, and suppose somebody, and I don't know if you're allowed to or not, but if they had an event and it was lit, you know, halogen lights, whatever, would we say you'd have to get an exception to the noise ordinance?
I mean, that's it. I mean, you may have some people, I mean, for example, my backyard, I have it set up, it's not for shooting. I don't shoot past, you know, if it's dusk or whatever, I don't. But I know people that have their backyards lit up specific for shooting, for whether it be target shooting with a gun, with a bow and arrow, whatever it is. They have lights set up that they can see what they're shooting at.
Yes.
They have lights aimed at the target. They're also shooting very safely because they're following the rules, which is you have a proper backstop and you're not shooting within so many feet of your neighbors and all this other stuff.
But they're in an extreme minority. 1%.
Do we really? So you've heard the guns and you've walked over to that person's house and you have checked to see that they are shooting unsafely.
I have seen lights on. They usually have a car, you know, parked, and they got the headlights at the, you know, shooting at, shining at their target. That's it. And I don't go over. I call the cops when it becomes excessive.
I'm not, are there any laws about when you can and can't shoot a gun? State, RSA.
They're hunting.
Yeah,
Other than
the hunting. No,
No.
As long, I mean, it would fall under the town's noise ordinance.
Yeah.
You know that if you're out, you know.
And it didn't used to be a problem, but you know, in my particular neighborhood, somebody bought 90 acres of land. They have the proper clearances, you know, distance-wise. So it's legal for them to shoot right up until 10 p.m. It drives the
I mean,
animals
people are
crazy.
shooting like 4 sizes of me.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, most people keep it down during the day. I mean, I know a number of towns have said, oh, on Sundays you can't shoot until 1 p.m. even on a gun range. I mean, I understand we're not trying to, I'm not trying to abridge somebody's shooting rights, but, you know, some of us did come to New Ipswich for the peace and quiet, and the ambient, I did a noise study a while back, about 2 or 3 years ago, where I went around the entire town with a noise meter, and during the day, the ambient noise level is about 35 decibels, which is very quiet comparatively speaking. At night, it's 25 to 30 decibels. And you shoot a gun and all at rapid fire, and all of a sudden you're up to 70, 80, 90 decibels, easy. And it's continuous.
Would you think maybe if we just move that up to 9 o'clock?
It's better.
And again, I can be in my yard and I can hear guns going and I can't tell you where that gun is.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't matter. But by the same token, if it was 9:30 at night, I'd be saying, you know, why?
I understand, yeah, in
Yeah.
the summer it gets lighter, yeah, people wanna be outdoors more, you know, but, you know.
And to me, it doesn't matter whether it's shooting a gun or cranking up a radio.
Or fireworks, or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Or, I mean, running your four-wheeler down the road or running a motorcycle down the road. I mean, there's motorcycles that go up and down the road legally without any problem that make
Oh.
way more noise than a gun does.
Oh, yeah, the Harleys at 110 decibels, you know, when they pull out the muffler.
So, I mean, but I'm not gonna tell somebody what time they can and can't ride their motorcycle down the road.
I
either.
know, we have limits, but we do
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit in here.
Yeah.
But if somebody's, parked it outside my door and revved the engine, I'd be pretty
Yeah.
miffed.
I understand that, but no one's standing in your front yard shooting a gun either.
Yeah, well, they're getting pretty close.
The guy's got 90 acres and he's within the safe distance. He is following the
He's
law.
following the law. Yes, I agree with you entirely.
Okay, then barring wherever the noise generates from,
Mm-hmm.
do we agree or not agree about the time frames? 7 to 10?
I'll go to 9 o'clock. I'll buy that.
Nope.
I think that's a good, reasonable compromise.
No,
And we have to
we are
think,
we are not a retirement community.
we're getting
Excuse
close.
me?
No.
Yeah.
We're getting very close, John.
You look at the schools, we have a lot of young families, and guess what? We're not going to be able to pay taxes with a retirement community. We need to bring young families in here that are active and doing stuff, and that's what we're trying to do. And I'm sorry if you tell people, sorry, you can't make noise after 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, but it's the seniors who have the money and the seniors who don't have the kids in school.
Really,
so
the
our
seniors to
tax-
me are the ones that I keep hearing are on a fixed income and can't afford anything.
That's just on the TV. That's
Really?
not real.
Really, you should go look through your surveys that we got back last week. No, I'm not in favor of 9 o'clock.
Would there be any value in finding out what other communities do?
It's all over the place. But, yeah, I mean, we can check.
Yeah, could you check with the ones that abut New Ipswich?
Sure.
Okay.
Move on?
We'll move on. But that moves right into fireworks and other disturbances.
Let me see, hang on. Review dumping ordinance.
Okay.
This one here, I think we should change slightly because this was written back when we had the septic lagoons there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't see any place to get rid of my,
Yeah, the septic. I would suggest that we amend that to no dumping of trash will be done on off days at the transfer station, not at the landfill.
okay. Yep,
If an emergency arises,
yeah.
contact must be made with the, it says town office or police department, but I would say it should be made with the DPW director during business hours.
Yeah. How are people dumping from their RVs?
They go to pumping stations.
Oh,
Yeah. We don't have any provisions for that.
Yeah, I've just seen them do it right into the septic tanks.
Well, I suppose if they're set up for it. Town office emergency closing policy.
Okay.
This one here, when I read it, at first I was thinking it was for when, you know, there's a snowstorm or something, but this, as I read it, was more for if we close it, to use it as a emergency center.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be part of a snow or ice storm or, I mean, what would be the
Right.
emergency?
Well, I can tell you I have received the phone calls from the town office on times where we're getting a major snowfall, and they say, hey, can we close the office early?
Hmm,
Yeah, go ahead.
sure,
I don't think that falls under this one, though.
no. But, I was pretty much okay with the emergency.
Well, it says The only thing I had with this one is it's referencing, will be made by the Incident Command Office. Emergency Management Director or designee to the Town Administrator or Board of Selectmen. Well, I guess the Incident Command Officer could be the chief, either one of the chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be,
So maybe if we could just, rather than have that worded as Incident Command Officer.
mhm. Yeah, that's fine.
Good with that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
It seemed
Uh,
reasonable.
The fireworks ordinance.
Yep.
We have the permissible fireworks ordinance.
Yep.
The only thing I had on here as a question mark, for some reason I thought on our current form, does the police chief sign off?
Yes.
All of this says it's, I'm pretty sure it was by the fire chief. Although no, it does say the permit shall be approved by the chief of police. I thought.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or his office.
yeah,
And a New Ipswich Board of Selectmen member. So the fire chief had, any person wishing shall obtain a written fireworks permit from the fire chief, and then the police chief and us sign off on it.
okay,
Yeah.
But they get them from the fire department, so I guess that's what it's really saying.
okay.
And I look, I mean, just quick glance. Neither of our two closest towns even have it on their website, noise ordinances. The only one,
I
Greenville.
don't think
That's
Ringe
it,
has
yes.
a noise ordinance.
Right, I'm just saying.
They tried to pass one and it would fail.
Yeah, who's that?
Ringe.
Yeah, yeah, Greenville, all they have is a motor vehicle one. See, supposedly you can't squeal your tires there.
Well, we got that,
I know.
yeah,
No one does that here.
never.
No.
Yeah, the only comment I wanted to include in there
Don't say that too loud.
No.
is tinterite is being used.
Tannerite.
Tannerite. I'm not sure it's the spelling, but tannerite. It's being brought into town on a pretty regular basis and being detonated. And it shakes the windows and the roof and so forth, and I'd like to ban it from the town entirely.
I think it's probably something we have to put on a ballot.
Yeah, we don't have the authority to ban it unless the RSA gives us that authority.
And right now, the state of New Hampshire does not consider it illegal. So we would have to do a ballot question
Well,
to create it.
Then
Yeah.
we really need to put
Now,
that.
you say it's coming in, I only remember
You can buy it at the
that
gun
one
store.
incident, huh?
No, you can buy it at the gun stores.
No, what I'm saying is, I only remember it getting discharged, for no better word, one time.
No, it's happening more because
Is it?
Yeah, because you can do it in any. It comes in a. What I've seen it comes in a large container,
Hmm?
and you can use it in a large container. You can put it in small containers, and it, you shoot it and it explodes.
Hmm.
So it is all the amount that they want to use. There's some interesting videos you can see. There's one guy almost took it, like just showing how dangerous the stuff can be. They put it in a refrigerator, and this thing's a good 100 yards away probably from the guy, and he hits it with a bullet out of a rifle, and the door of the fridge almost takes his head off, comes back at him. So
I hope we learned something.
yeah, yeah. Stand behind a block. But no, it's coming in. You can hear it in different size. I mean, they were explosions. Again, it's if Bert's hearing on his side of town, he'd hate to hear my side of town.
And I don't hear it.
Yeah,
I was in the office when it went off.
yeah. The one.
And I mean, everything shook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what
Yeah.
was that?
yeah. You hear it. Most people have. I think some of the fun of it has started to slow. There's still other people that are doing it. you're not hearing the big booms anymore. It's smaller
Small
booms,
quantity.
but they're still using it. But again, you know, I'd say, you know, write up a
I think
thing and have some people sign it for you, Bert.
Oh, no, I'll run right through the board here.
Don't run
But
it
I
to the
mean,
board.
even, it would have to be, it would have to be done at the state level
No,
to
no.
give us the authority to,
No, we can ban it through one of our local ordinances as part of
I don't-
prohibited fireworks.
I don't know. Well,
I'm not sure that you can.
because you would have to prove that that's what they used.
We,
Well,
Well,
I'm looking
right.
at it that every time I go to one of these seminars, we are not a home rule state. You do not have the authority to enact something that the RSA does not give you that authority to do. So, that's why even on this
Yeah.
gun thing, I kept having to ask you guys,
Yeah.
well, what's allowed? You know, because
Yeah.
I don't know.
no, I mean, you know, hunting and shooting are two different animals.
Yeah. But I just didn't know what the laws are pertaining to
Yeah.
them, period, so.
um, But, yeah,
So on this one here, which is the fireworks ordinance permissible, if I understood you, Bert, your recommendation would be to combine it with the one that's fireworks prohibition ordinance.
yeah, I would think we should say, okay, you can do this, but this you can't do. I mean, why have them go to two different documents? And I mean, should print that. I would assume tannerite would be a
It's not a
firework.
fireworks though.
No, it's a explosive. Or I actually don't even know how it's really
Classified.
classified.
Yeah.
Syntax.
C4. You sunk my battleship.
Yeah. So,
I suppose if we
Because
had-
really, I mean, you look at if you look at what he's saying. So if you actually look at the last page
Yeah,
of the permissible fireworks ordinance, it lists the exact same local option that's on the fireworks prohibition ordinance.
say that one again, John?
The last
Enforcement,
the
yeah.
last page of the
The
permissible
local option.
the local
Yeah,
option
yeah,
is listed on both ordinances.
right. So the
yeah. Because
RSA.
one, it's saying to allow or prohibit, and this is
Right.
how it came
Right.
about.
Yeah.
We could, I'm thinking we could put them both on one ordinance.
Yeah.
And just leave that one.
Exactly.
Which is
Yeah.
the authority to do
Right,
so.
exactly, and that's kind of what I was saying, is that it seems odd that we do have two, when this one RSA gives us the ability to do both, so why don't we just, somehow combine these two paragraphs into,
Yeah. The other thing, and so that I don't forget, I would like, Colada to do when we're done with these, is kind of make it an electronic book, so we have a cover, town ordinances, an index, and then list them.
Yeah.
That way there, people want to know, hey, click on it, here you go, we've
Yeah.
got them there.
All right.
Next one is littering. This goes to 1980. It's a shame that you have to have one of these, that I would think nowadays people would know not to, but.
did you see all the bags a couple weeks ago?
Which it's a shame.
There used to be the give a hoot, don't pollute campaign.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid.
Or the crying Indian?
We learned
Yeah.
that it was wrong. I don't think kids learn that anymore.
The Indian with the one T.
Yes.
No, they're too busy advertising drugs.
That guy wasn't even an American Indian.
Really?
Yeah.
Any changes to that?
No, I think that's good. We just should say, confirmed such and such date.
Yeah.
Municipal parking regulation. That's one that I think we should combine with the parking regulation.
Yeah, just a question on that. It seems to focus on Old Country Road and River Road, that junction.
Correct.
Is there a specific reason for that?
I
Right,
think,
to keep them off the bridge,
Yeah.
that the people can get by.
yeah, because if people are parking there, you can't get by at all.
It's a popular spot.
For fishing and swimming,
Yeah,
jumping,
I've seen
diving
people,
off the
I've seen
bridge.
people fishing there, but I just didn't realize, I've never seen a crowd there. And,
Go by in the summer.
well, I have been by in the summer.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking that when the Souhegan Country Club does its Ferry Festival again this coming fall.
But that's up the
It's
road.
up a ways,
Yeah,
and they were parking in a cleared area up above.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah.
be parking down within this.
Yeah, it's 150
Yeah.
feet both ways or something like that.
Yep.
Now, is this
I-
in the ordinance where we would put what we discussed last week?
Yeah, I think that should go.
Well, no, it does discuss the country club there, the Souhegan Country Club in Part D there.
The northerly side of Old Country Road beginning at 635 feet easterly from the bridge to the end of the Class 5 section at the country club.
Right, so you're prohibiting parking all up and down that
Correct.
entire road, all the way to the
Yes,
club,
yes.
okay?
Because if people park there, the residents can't get through.
Yeah, I know, and there's only 2 or 3 houses up there past the country club.
One. And there's only one, but then, there is that gentleman that has, his driveway, I guess, comes off of there now.
Yeah, that's,
Long way,
Hmm.
but,
okay, just wanna make sure.
the other thing on here is, yes, because I did read through RSA's, and believe it or not, I could not find one that says vehicles can't park on public lawns or whatever.
Yeah, and to be honest, I wouldn't go so far as saying vehicles you can't park on a public, because you have certain events. Like for example, when the fair's at the church, people park all along the cemetery.
Yep.
On Memorial Day, people park all along the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say is that vehicles shall not be listed or posted for sale or something to that effect. I think there's got to be if someone's parked there because there's something going on or they're going to an event or they're there for the day. Like for example, if someone's they can't park along River Road, Old Country Road, okay? So they park near Mr. Smith's, get off the road, they're parked on the thing, they're not tearing up the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And then they walk down to the river or walk along the river for a while and come back, pick their car up and leave. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I have an issue, like he said, where someone says, hey, this seems like a fairly well-traveled area of land. I'm going to put my, pickup truck here and mark it for sale, and I'm going to leave it here parked for, I think, we should say something to the effect of, vehicles, you cannot list park vehicles for sale on town.
I'm gonna disagree with you, John. I don't think that the town should be maintaining these town commons to look nice for people to go and park there. I don't think that parking on River Road, especially at that area, should be promulgated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why somebody would want to, barring the selling a vehicle, that's another issue, but I mean, just to pull up and start parking for something, or, as was brought to my attention, is that people will use that as a place to go and hold a yard sale. I don't think that's what the purpose of the town commons are.
No, I mean, you wanna hold a yard sale, use the town parking lot or
Or
something.
use your yard,
Like
where your yard
Do with the
sale's
farmer's
gonna be.
market.
But
You know?
the selectmen control all town property. People can't use it without your permission.
for example,
I heard
last
about-
week,
I heard
yeah,
about
so
that.
they come in,
Yeah.
we don't know about it. I drove by and I'm saying, oh, vehicle's not here, well, Tim had already spoken to the guy
Yeah.
and he moved it. But when they broached us and said that they were parked there, I'm thinking, who would have the audacity to do that? To me, it's a
Right.
green, you
Mhm.
don't do
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And by the same token, with that example, I'm thinking, well, what prohibits somebody from just going and park on the ball field?
Well, somebody called me one day and said, yeah, I'm coming up this weekend with a bunch of snowmobiles on a trailer and I wanted to just park it at the town office, you know, because my buddy doesn't have room in his yard. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but, you know, the selectmen are the only ones who can decide that and, you know, they're not meeting between now and Saturday, so I'm afraid you can't do that. And he was like, well, why not? It's town property, it's public, you know, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it's not, really.
Well, I mean, okay, like in Boston, there's inadequate off-street parking, so invariably, they have vehicles on the street. And invariably, some of those vehicles have a little for sale sign in the window
Mhm.
and so forth. Now, are we trying, if somebody downtown who has a 10,000 square foot lot, say, wants to put their vehicle on the street, public way, and put a for sale sign, are we going to prohibit that?
No.
No, you
No.
can't. As
No.
long as that vehicle is registered and they're parking in a
On their
parking
property.
zone,
Yeah.
not even on their property.
No,
Parking
it's-
area.
Parking
No,
area,
it's not a parking area, it's a public way,
public way,
Public.
right.
public way.
For example, and I'll use Turnpike Road where
Yeah.
I live, and I know, I shouldn't say no, I believe on, like where the mobile gas station is, or maybe even Shot Stop, there used to be a sign about no parking on that side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
On my side though, there's no sign, so you can park there.
Yeah.
So if somebody parked a car there and had a for sale sign, as long as it was registered,
And they could leave it there for,
Till it snowed.
well, till it snows.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that,
I have no problem adding, I understand what you're saying, I have no problem adding, that there should be no parking on town common. Now,
yeah, I mean, that's not that.
because,
I'm
as long,
just-
like I said, I mean,
and like the one that you referenced, the cemetery, where they park, to me, that's what it's there for.
Okay.
For parking. That I wouldn't call it common.
okay,
But like if somebody did it at the War Memorial,
okay.
I'd be livid.
Yeah, but
You know?
I just don't want people indiscriminately parking and leaving a vehicle 2, 3, 4 days. I mean, but we're not really addressing that.
Right,
Again, I think
Yeah.
if it's not posted as no parking on a road, then they can park there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if they have a vehicle they're selling and they've unregistered it, that's a
That's-
totally different.
so I guess my question, because this one was adopted, so the regulations was that, so which one can we adjust either one? Because one was by a ballot question.
Well, how about the parking regulation itself, adding a intermediate section, actually two intermediate sections somewhere in here. One for parking on public property, and two, parking on a public road shall not create a public nuisance, or, I know what you're trying to say, Dave,
The only thing on the
but I'm
parking was to get them,
I'm just saying, I just don't wanna see a vehicle parked on Turnpike Road for a week at a time.
I have no control over that.
I know, but can we write something that
No,
State
creates?
highway too.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
No, so I mean, if they're parked legally, I mean, I put it this way, Bert, I was able to go and fight a parking ticket in Erie, Pennsylvania, because I parked in front of my own house and then left because my house was for sale. And I parked it there, and I was parked headed in the correct direction. It was not snow time, and I parked it. And I came back and I had 6 parking tickets on my thing. And I went and I'm like, it's a registered vehicle. I own that house. Judge took it and goes, thrown out, done. It was a public street in front of my own house, registered vehicle, but I couldn't drive it. I'd poked a hole in the oil tank. Not on purpose, but yeah. So I was able to. I didn't have to pay those tickets. But can we do that since
That's
these?
the one I want you to go fight for.
All right. Can since this one was done by ballot, can we?
Oh, we can put it onto the other one, the municipal parking.
Right, that's what I was wondering. But we
Yeah.
can't. But these we couldn't combine then, like we
You
combined.
could, it could be combined and, just get rid of that
Okay.
heading and just
Yeah.
make it,
Okay.
with a heading of parking regulations.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it should
Yeah.
be,
Yeah,
Yeah.
one can reference the ballot, the other one can reference RSA's.
So on this one, we just want to add no parking,
We're gonna add it to the one that says,
municipal parking regulations.
yeah,
So there'll be an F.
well,
yeah.
Or would it just be?
I don't know that I would do, I would
No,
just
just
do
be-
another one.
Just I
Yeah,
think.
because the A through E, I'm presuming are
following
referencing those
rows.
RSA's, yeah.
Yeah,
No
but
parking.
that seems to give us the authority to stop parking wherever and whenever.
Uh,
I mean, if you look at that,
Well, if you look up RSA 4111 or 4117, bro, I'm not sure, but I think this might be pertaining to scenic roads,
okay,
which is that road.
So should it be at any time without?
No, there should be no parking on
Okay.
town commons.
All right. So I have no parking of a private vehicle on town commons at any time.
No parking of any vehicle. I don't care if it's a public vehicle. Well,
I only said because what if
Yeah.
they're doing something?
yeah, maintenance or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that kind of trumps
yeah.
private
Yeah.
use.
Right, so that's what I was gonna say, okay, so no parking of a town vehicle on no parking of a private vehicle on town commons at any time.
Yep.
Okay,
There was littering we already did, fireworks we did. Hawkers and peddlers, that was a fairly recent one, so I didn't have anything on that.
Yeah, that was fine, and it actually did come up, about a year and a half or 2 years ago, where somebody actually applied to the planning board for a license for a site plan approval.
That was the guy, well, recently, the guy from Edward
Oh, sorry,
Jones.
sorry. Yeah.
we took septic
Insurance
jobs.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Or securities.
Came in,
yeah.
yeah.
Landfill, change it to transfer station.
Yep. But that's fine,
Cause that sounds nicer.
a little convoluted.
No.
but-
Those ordinance we did. Notice and sign policy for the town of New Ipswich.
Yep.
I had no issues with that.
Nope, that was fine.
The parking regulations we did, sanitary landfill ordinance.
That was just, they need a sticker.
You're right, but I would change that to the transfer station.
Transfer station, yep.
Snow removal ordinance, I didn't have any
Nope, that seemed
thing
reasonable.
with that. Can't believe we have this town of property ordinance. Effective immediately, any person or persons caught in the act of vandalizing any town property will be prosecuted. We need to let them know that.
It might be worthwhile to just check with the police chief, it sounds like something that might
That's
have come from
what I'm
the police
thinking,
chief.
yeah.
Well, cause it's probably one of those things, it's, if it's not there, then we go, well, there's nothing says it can't.
No
Okay.
consumption of any alcoholic beverages on or in any town property.
Yeah, that really puts a damper on the Christmas party.
I like the fact that town property, town buildings, or town vehicle.
Yeah.
Did you really have to state that?
Hey, how do you-
Hey,
Uh,
no drinking in the,
Now, I'm gonna be
Well,
on,
I heard one of the former police chiefs used to drive around with a beer in between his legs. No.
that's just silly, it gets warm when you do that.
now,
Okay.
I'm gonna preface this is cause these, I would like it asked, Debbie or someone to read them, because I know I had red marks on these, cause there's areas where, just grammatically,
Okay.
you know, like, I think in one of them it was supposed to say one, and it may have said on.
Okay.
And for some reason, the marks aren't coming up.
Okay. For grammar and spelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run it through Grammarly.
And then there was another ordinance that I put in the folder that wasn't in the folder, and it was for the, working within the right of way, which, was
Ordinance.
adopted in
February of 16.
Yeah.
That I have not seen.
We have the snow removal ordinance.
Which I didn't see any issue with. As long as they, I see people doing it as long as they get all the way across the road with it. It's not normally too bad. I don't see anyone snow blowing it into it, but you'll see people plowing their driveway out.
Yeah, that should push.
And they go all the way across. And
Yeah, I mean,
you end
that-
up with some little.
Yeah, the state gave me a chastising for doing that.
Really?
Yeah, well, the biggest problem is, you know, the safety issues. You know, other people, you know, just don't see the people coming down the road.
We didn't. There was no changes on that, correct?
No.
Did
Okay.
the town close it?
Just change incident command officer. And the volunteer policy, I thought was good.
The only question on that was, do we have an application form?
I do.
Okay. And do we actually ask people to sign it and fill it out and such, or is
That's
that
a good question.
kind of, oh, yep, you're a volunteer, thank God. We got a warm body.
It's a good question. I think, Primex recommends that you formally acknowledge your volunteers so that if anything happens
Yeah.
and they say, oh, well, I was volunteering for the town, it's clear whether they were or they weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other part of that was, we do have, boards such as, both volunteer boards and elected boards. I know
I
that
think those are,
I know the elected officials, swear an oath
Yeah.
and so forth, but, we do have a number of volunteer boards that probably aren't even aware that they're under this policy. Probably ought to
let me check.
put some information out to the chairman of those various boards.
Were you okay with the right-of-way one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, all good.
Okay, so I think that's it with the
That's it.
Yeah.
ordinances.
We were good with the house numbering one. Sorry. I was-
Oh,
House
I
number?
didn't get that one.
I didn't get it either.
Town of New Ipswich house numbering ordinance. If you want to look it over.
I know that's something that the fire chief would like to kind of bring to the forefront, because she was saying there's a lot of houses where they haven't replaced numbers.
Yeah, the number. Oh, yeah. You drive
Yeah.
past it, it blends into the mailbox if you can even
Yeah.
find a number.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I've had the ambulance service come out to my house, and they've gone everywhere but my house.
Yeah. So maybe actually we consider a story about updating the ordinances and maybe call this one out or something.
Somehow, well, we should probably get the word out to the homeowners that they really ought to put a number on their house.
Yeah,
Could you maybe have Laurie put a thing on the webpage?
website,
Yeah.
Facebook,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the thing is, I know, like, it'll tell you, like, what size numbers and all that. and-
Right.
I think it's
Yeah, I bought mine. Yeah, it's like a-
large lettering.
Yeah. I got mine at Beltate's, and then,
Yeah,
and then I found, if you do it on a day when there's no, you don't do it during the winter, I took, Gorilla Tape and went over my numbers, and then they didn't peel off in the winter. Because what'll happen is the ice and stuff will build up behind them, and they just start to peel off.
Why'd you get the ones that you nail on?
I have a plastic mailbox. I don't have one of them fancy ones like you do, Dave.
Well, you come on down and I'll show you how to make one.
No, then what happens? Someone comes down, and takes it out for me.
Okay.
Not yet.
Yeah, you're lucky. Yep.
Okay.
One
Wow.
one year I had the reason I had a second one is my first one got hit by the plow into the snowbank. I found it come springtime. Luckily there was no mail in it.
I once, not the one I have now, but, and it got wiped out by a kid in the car, and I was just, geez, he could have at least stopped and said something.
Mm-hmm.
He came back that night and he told me, he knocked on the door, he said, I just wanna let you know, I knocked it down, I'll come down and I'll fix it. I told him, thank you for coming, don't worry about it.
Yeah, then my
But that
other-
was very nice.
Yeah.
I thought that was outstanding.
But I had one of those Rubbermaid ones. So the worst that would happen is they'd hit it or whatever, and the top would just come off, and they just slide it back on, and it was all set. And then somebody got really determined, and they had to have messed up their car because I had a 2-inch solid metal pipe.
In the center,
In front of the
oh,
mailbox.
in front.
So you couldn't hit it. So they when they hit it, they would just barely graze. They bent the whole thing and broke the 4x4 that's buried in the ground that those things slide over. So they were moving.
Yeah.
So whatever they used, they either hit it with a plow deliberately or whatever they were working with, they messed up.
I gave up. After number 10, I just got a box up the post office.
I have that too. Yeah.
10 time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, some of it was the plow, some of it was deliberate.
Yeah, I lost one to the plow and one to the deliberate, but now I've got the 5-gallon bucket with the cement in it. Sits in here, which is nice because then as if I need to, I can move it back and forth as the road changes width.
We have like a fake terracotta pot filled with sand, and
Yeah.
that's worked really well.
Yeah. So it's just that one that Carla is going to look into our neighbors and seeing
Yeah.
what they're saying.
Investment policy, if we can do that.
Yeah, that was something that the auditors had asked the
But-
treasurer for, and they noticed that it hadn't been updated since 2013.
I think we should do that with the treasurer, since she's supposed to be the one that would be doing the investments. That's why I think it would be best
Yeah.
if we did it with her as a group.
Yeah. And we do have a written policy on that.
We do.
Well,
it just
there
needs
was one, and they
Yeah.
asked us to review it, which
has to be
is
updated every so many
every
years.
year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kalaya, if you
Yeah.
could send that around
Sure.
for a meeting with the treasurer, that'd be great.
And do you know, the trustees of the trust funds have an investment policy as well?
Yeah,
Are you
yes.
familiar with that,
Yes.
that one? Or have you
Not
seen
that-
it lately?
Not lately. It was when they went to the investment advisor
Right.
that
Yeah,
they
that's-
presented it.
Yeah, that's when
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
when I read it. I was like,
Yeah.
hey,
Shouldn't it
because
be
before they said
consistent?
Well, no, because
two different things.
yeah, two different things, plus the trust funds are more long-term investments
Okay.
versus,
It's fine.
Yeah, we get like a
Our,
road bond that's got to be taken out. It could be finished at any point. We need to be
Yeah.
able to take it out. But it used to be, yeah. I mean, like I said, I remember they had told you Beverly would come over with a stack of pass books, and you'd run them through. It's like he's like, 25 cents.
good evening,
We have a gift for you.
you do?
Yes.
So,
I was expecting a check.
no.
No.
So was I. Just kidding. So this is a restoration of an involuntarily merged lots. It is the purview of the selectmen. It is not the planning board, it is not the assessors, it's the selectmen.
It's
So,
based on governing body.
Yep,
I thought that
Where-
timeframe expired.
That's it. That's the
2021, I believe.
Really?
I'll need it later.
Yeah, so,
It,
have fun.
it's not a big deal,
Yeah,
really.
all right.
It just saves them the cost of a subdivision and a survey. And they went back to early in the previous century and found that the two were separate.
Yeah, there's deeds that go back to
But-
1928, 1948, that they're two separate lots. Even on the plot card, there's two deeds on the same plot card for the, you'll see it, I made a copy of that.
But when they did their current use, they treated it as one lot.
Mm.
But we're taxing them as two lots.
No,
taxing
we've
them.
been taxing as one. That's what
They
they were just
want it
saying.
back to two.
I didn't read it.
Yeah, no, I just quickly, only reason is it
Yeah.
says that we know that this is gonna give us two separate tax bills.
Right.
Yeah, and what they wanna do is just break it up again.
Oh, yeah,
Somewhat.
it allows them to do separate things with the property if
Yeah.
they want to. But,
Wait a minute, so they,
They were two lots, they
Right.
were merged as one, and now they wanna put them back to two.
but one lot,
The
the
same,
small lot, has a house on it.
yeah.
but wait a
The other
minute,
lot doesn't.
but if they,
It was involuntarily merged,
We don't know
involuntary.
that.
We think.
Because they were both non-conforming? No.
They get current use.
Yeah.
all right, but if they made it one lot,
We don't know who made it one lot.
Adjacent
Right.
lots get
You know what
current
happened, the
use.
town
Yeah.
probably started
Doesn't have to
taxing
be
it as
one lot.
one lot, because in the old days, when you used a typewriter, or you wrote the tax bill by hand, you lumped everything Joe had into one tax bill and sent the thing out, okay? But if you look at the deeds, it's two separate lots,
Right.
so it probably should
so the
be.
current deed still shows it as two
Two
separate
separate
lots,
lots.
okay?
There's no deed that shows it as one,
Right.
okay?
Okay, yep, good.
So, nobody ever did that, so in reality, one could argue they were just taxed as one, but they were never involuntarily merged legally. And the big lot is all in current use,
And there's 1 acre of the house lot that's not in current use.
so the new lot would have nothing out for current use, so you'd have a current use lien penalty if they went to build on it.
Okay, just that, you know, you weren't here earlier on, we discussed those forms you sent through for the utility pole licensing.
Yeah,
And just to get better clarity, we're gonna ask that, firm to come and explain it to us.
let me know when.
Yeah.
Who dreamt this one up?
And why is more, I think I understand why, but,
It's a nightmare. It's absolutely, I've been to a town that did a hearing, and they did the whole thing in about 20 minutes after they had the notices out and everything else. Of course, they then amended pole licenses for poles on roads that they didn't own, but they got a little tangled up that way.
all right,
Awesome. Thank you, Jim.
Anyway,
thanks.
Thank you.
okay.
Okay.
We'll
See you tomorrow.
Yep.
Where's our folder with the,
Oh, you left it in the thing?
Got the investment.
No, the 91A.
91A?
Well, before we get into non-public.
Go ahead.
I've got a couple items. We had a planning board meeting last Wednesday. Kent came in, talked a little bit about where he was going. His rates are going from $85 an hour to $95 an hour for anything he charges to the town directly. But most of the fees are already covered by the applicants, so it,
Yeah.
for the most part, doesn't affect us unless we ask him to do something technical. So we got that, and
Anything new that he brought before the town?
I left a little early
Okay,
from the
okay,
meeting, so
yeah.
I didn't hear anything particularly different. And then the other thing is, we got a survey of the town, Old Town Hall,
No.
just to show, send that one down.
So where did this line go?
Wait, that goes down to a bound on the other end.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
So-
whoa, 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 okay, I'm sorry, I see now.
Okay, so,
Oh, we got plenty of room to open that door.
0.2 feet.
Wait a minute, 12-foot easement from building face.
Yes. It's in the deeds,
Yeah,
but it's an easement.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
not there.
yeah.
So this is one that, while we're on
So
that,
that is the property line, the black line?
yeah.
Yeah,
So this came up just the other day. Over at the lodge, we just put in a new heating system, switch from oil to propane, and we put the propane tanks on the back of the building. Ran a line across. Mike Houston came over the other day. He went out to Nashua and pulled the deed records for the thing right across the back of the building. Literally
Why would they have done that?
But, so like the markers, just so you know where the utility pole is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the marker's just beyond the utility pole, closer to Mike's place.
Yeah.
You take that line and you run it to that 4-foot angle iron that's on the other side of the building, and that's the property line, and it runs right along the back
Where's
of the
the
building.
line?
In between,
Towards Elliot's?
yeah, you'll see it kind of standing, yeah. But it literally, and it runs just like this at the back of the building.
Yeah.
There's no property at the back
And
of
the
the building.
and the soffits overhang onto the adjoining property.
Well, my neighbor's is that way. His house is over on my property, and that was in the deed, but I just don't understand what was,
What was
they
some,
had so much land, right?
what were they thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, interesting enough, it's not shown this way on the tax map. It's shown as a little rectangle, but it's 2 deeds, and the deeds are very well defined.
Oh, and it does that jog?
It does that jog. According to the deeds.
So, based on what I'm seeing here, how do we put in that drainage?
How do you put anything in there?
Well,
The drainage, I'm sure that, well, if, in that easement, I'm sure he will,
oh, that's right, we're within the easement.
yeah, we're within the
yeah,
easement for the drainage.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the easement.
So who owns the property, the neighbor down here?
Yeah, the Archambaults.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And those
So where'd you
bounds-
get this from, the,
Oh, no, I went out there, measured it up,
oh, man,
and pulled the plans. Debbie actually did a lot of the legwork on this one. She pulled all the deeds.
did you find any bound? Cause I see.
Oh,
not
yeah, I
not
found bounds down the way, there's drill holes down the way, there's a bound down the street here, about 360 feet or so. There's wall over by the cemetery with a drill hole in it. There's all sorts of plans out there.
But nothing on the property corner or
It
something?
may be buried, it may have been destroyed, I didn't find it.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I did some poking around, went out to talk to the guy doing the foundation. You know, he was there when I was there.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't realize we don't even own the property in front of the building.
Well, you own about yay much. And the stairs
Warned
actually,
you.
So is that the
The
state's
sta-
right of way?
Yeah.
the stairs actually are in the right of way. That granite block that's
Yeah.
in front there. I mean, that's why I put the building dimensions on there, because I taped up the building and it ain't a lot of room to work with. It's right on there. And all the previous surveys show it exactly like that.
And why they have the jog in it is beyond me.
It's 2 deeds.
What do you mean, 2 deeds?
There's a deed for the back piece, that 16-foot section, and then there's a deed for that front, call it
This
45 feet.
It's here, and this deed is here.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, would it be prudent to approach them about
Buying that back area,
buying a,
well, they have, I think, almost 3 acres out there, if I recall. Let's see what they got. I don't know what they got. Yeah, I mean, but I think there's I mean, it looks swampy in the backyard there. Yeah. I mean, it didn't get my feet wet when I was out back running through there.
Doesn't smell real good on when you go towards this way.
But,
The humid nights, it is not pleasant back there.
I mean,
it looks
This area.
definitely, it
This
definitely
area's
looks
good.
swampy.
But I don't know.
And there's
it's-
a drainage ditch
yeah.
coming from Smithville that kind of leads across the lawn and into it, about halfway here. I mean, that was
where
wet.
does it dump out?
Dumps into that back area here.
Oh,
There's a low spot there of sorts.
but I mean, like if we were to say,
I mean, you really want the upland, but
Yeah.
I don't know what the soils are like out there. I mean, do we have ledge or do we have some decent material? And
so what do you wanna do with it?
And the other thing is, there's a well over here about 60 feet off the building on the
That's theirs,
north
though.
side. That's on the...
Yeah, Friendship Manors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they got a well there, so we have to watch offsets for any septic system we might want to build.
Well, we'd be on
Yeah,
this, yeah. I'd be more concerned with where theirs would have been if they.
yeah,
I don't
I don't
think
know
they have
where
one.
their stuff is.
I don't even know, because the house is so old, I don't know what he's got there.
Yep, it's got that water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So, I think we really need to solve our septic and water problems before we punch any more money into this building. You know,
Well, we
especially-
said that. Those were the two things we're gonna need to do, so.
Yeah, but I'm just
Uh,
saying, I know the long-term plan is to utilize this building in some way, but unless we can solve those problems, this building is not gonna be fully utilized, and we're not gonna be fully functional on the building.
So do we wanna try and set up a meeting with the
With them
owner of this
and-
property?
Well, what we need to do is figure out what they have available for them, and then see what we could possibly negotiate. Probably a little more legwork on this.
Do you know them?
I do.
You wanna approach them, see if they're amenable to a meeting?
Yeah, I know they won't be back until they're going out of town. But yeah, and I guess my only other question is even if they are okay with that, where's the money coming from?
Oh, it would have to be a warrant article,
Okay.
but it's nothing we're doing now, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the process.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'll reach out to them.
And that's all I have.
I'm thinking, we had, I could give you an update on tax deeds in a public session, just in a general
Yep.
manner.
Yep.
I spoke with the tax collector and, she's preparing to send out the letters of impending deed on the 2016 properties. She's planning to have that out, by the 23rd, with the deed date of June 24th.
But that would be for 16?
Right, but anyone who anyone who was on our 15 list is also on the 16 list.
Unless they paid it off.
No, cause she applies payments to the oldest balance first. So if someone's on the 16 list,
Yep,
they could still be on the 15 list.
okay, yeah.
And I think what I'm saying is anyone who's on the 15 list is on the 16 list. So, long story short, our attorney had advised us to send letters of impending deed out to anyone that we were planning to deed. And this, what Jessica's doing is gonna cover that.
And wouldn't you say June 24th?
June 24th would be the deed date. So, between now and June 24th, the board can revisit the question of which, if any, properties the board wants to refuse the deed on.
Well, I'm more concerned with the ones that we said we wanted to go to deed with
There-
the ones.
So if we go forward with this, we could say everything's going to deed except for these ones that we don't want. And instruct the tax collector to simply record those deeds. Which is what didn't happen last year.
I'll
Tax collector's
be,
supposed to record the deeds.
yeah. I'm at the point, I know that we have these issues with some of them, but I don't think we should let anyone that's at that point off the hook because it's inconvenient for us. You know, because
Meaning
we're
what? Give me that example, without specifics.
trailers.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the attorney did advise me to reach out to the Park Association.
Right.
And have a conversation with them about whether they would be willing to work with the town to address some of these issues. And rather than having the town take on the liability of owning the park rent, we could work as partners. You know, we'll help you fix your situation, you help us fix our situation, and in the end, it will be good for everybody.
But it's one of those things like, you know, just because someone owns a piece of property that's inconvenient for us, I don't think it's right to let them continue to slide while we go after someone else who has a very nice, you know, a decent house, you know, I'm going to say a decent house on a great regular piece of property. And we go, well, we don't want to deal with the hassle for that one, so we're going to let that slide.
I just don't want to expose the town to any liability.
I understand
That's
that.
my,
No,
Yep.
and I understand. That's
Yeah.
why I think, like I said, if we could get some sort of discussion with the park, that helps us know, okay, where do we go from there? Because, like I said, I find it hard to believe that if they're not paying one, are they paying another?
So you're suggesting we pursue the issues regardless of whether or not we have any chance of recovering monetarily?
Yeah,
It,
it's not, because it's not right for some. Yeah, it's not equal. We have someone that's 5 years out. We have someone that's 5 years out, and we go, well, this one's not easy for us, so we're going to let them continue to not pay their taxes. But these people, we're going to go ahead and take their house. That's not right. They both broke the same rule.
So, you know, we can,
yeah,
we'll get the list from Jessica by the 23rd of all of those properties again.
it'll be well before the 23rd though, right?
Well, she's gonna mail it May 23rd. And it's gonna say, if you don't pay your taxes by June 24th, we're gonna deed the property.
Okay, okay.
So that gives us time to just kind of fine tune all the
Sounds good.
individual cases.
He jokingly responded. I said, we'd like to talk with you at some point. He goes, is it about that truck that keeps parking in my yard? And then he laughed. He goes, it's okay. Because that's where the guy's parking to work on the town hall.
Oh.
yeah, he's parked right along the
Yeah.
side of the
He must be right in that easement.
Yeah, yeah, he's right there.
He's right there.
Yeah.
He might have a tire over or something, but
So, but he just.
Is that 6 feet, 8 feet?
that's 10.
Oh, plenty of room.
So, no, he said not a problem. When they get back from town, we can schedule a day and just
Okay.
talk with them.
I didn't mean you had to do it right now.
Well, it's okay. I figured before, you know.
Had nothing else on your agenda to do?
No, it was good. I was listening to one, taking care of another, multitasking.
What are we doing with the public meeting for the police fire question?
Listen, it was my fault. I misunderstood.
No, but I
I
mean,
misunderstood that I was supposed to contact.
Because
Let's see.
the whole goal was to try and get it in the paper, social media, and whatnot. And I think
Before school gets out,
Well,
we're
that was the
trying to
problem.
before they go vacation.
People start
and
vacation
whatnot.
and such. But
Yeah,
so
Suppose
maybe,
we try for the 11th.
11th works.
Okay. Carlotta, would you mind reaching out to Gary Somro? I think he's the first one. I don't know who we have to reach out
yeah,
to.
supposedly they have a form online to reserve the space, and I haven't been able to find it on their website, so
Okay.
I will have him walk me through it.
Okay. Because that was my misunderstanding. For some reason, I thought Lori was going to contact, and when you said it, I was like, oh sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're gonna check, then as soon as you hear, would you let Laurie know, get
To
it posted,
publicize it.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And in regards to the committees and, you know, who was elected versus what appointments we need to
Mhm.
make. I had asked Jessica to provide an update for tonight, and I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I asked her,
I think the main ones we were looking for was the cemetery trustees, the ZBA we need to, because we got a resignation, and
Was it assessors?
the assessors is the other one.
Yeah.
And why am I thinking there's still? Oh, the other thing we need to talk about is what are we gonna do regarding the pool director position?
and you have 2 emails in your folder.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they wanted to fold it into the rec director.
Yeah, and I'm still, my issue with that is right now, we're still, you made a request, how long ago from the rec director asking for information, which we still haven't gotten. I am not feeling right that I now want to put, oh, here's something else on your plate that we're not, we're not getting what we want now. I'm not feeling that that's the way
Okay,
we
but
need
the
to-
only place, and I hear,
Mhm.
like, that's fine. I was only saying because she, I thought, was the one that approached the board to say she wanted to do it.
Yes,
And there is an email from her today.
yeah, but she came and actually spoke to
Was
us
that
one
the
night
second
too.
one?
Confirming that,
Confirming that she does.
Yes.
that she has an interest, and she did tell me that, she doesn't work in the summertime,
Mhm.
and that her time would be freed up.
Yeah.
And that she's sorry that she hasn't gotten the information that you're looking for.
But the continued problem I have with that is our pool director, except for a short period of time, was also one of the lifeguards. So, the pool director piece would not be paying because last year we broke that stipend up
Correct, yep.
between pool director. So the pool director position, if all you're doing is being a pool director, is not the salary that they may think it is.
I'm trying to think, was that 25?
I think the director's stipend was like $14.50.
No. Oh, 1,450.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And that's it. It's
Yeah.
not much. And that's
Yeah.
the thing is like,
Yeah.
they're taking on a lot of responsibility.
Well, it's really,
No, it's
yeah.
but if you're also talking about someone who has no
Knowledge of
background,
the process.
the process.
True.
So
Because we've only been advertising it on the website, is it worth putting it in the paper?
It was in the paper.
it was in the
was it?
paper, yeah.
Yep, and it was on their online thing,
And
and I
it's-
also recently put it on Franklin Pierce's website.
Yeah.
And we've gotten
Yeah.
nothing.
So, I mean, that's just my opinion, but I'm on that part, so, the other option I'm not in favor of. So, if we're looking at one or two, I will go with one,
Okay.
but with that understanding that this is what it is.
Let's have her come in then for next week and
Okay.
That's
just
fine,
have the discussion.
okay.
And when you schedule that,
Yep.
tell them we'd also like her to bring her.
Bring your numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, because we just I keep signing a lot of receipts.
Yeah, she was saying that she's still learning that software, and that, receipts are easy because like people sign up online and it automatically puts it in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But like with expenses, she has to manually enter them in, and it sounds like she needs a little more training.
It's just, I understand that, but.
And I think that, in our BMSI software, I think that chart of accounts for that fund could be expanded to provide like better information for the board and for her and the public.
Mhm.
Right now, there aren't enough categories to break out.
I guess, like I explained to Shawnee and to Nicole, I am not expecting to see a list of, we bought, balloons at Walmart, or we did, all I wanna know is softball
Yeah.
brought in this much, and it
Spend.
cost us this much.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, If it's the positive, it's a
Right.
great program, let's sponsor
So
it.
those
Yeah.
should be the account numbers, a
Perfect.
revenue and an expense for
Yep.
softball,
Yep.
revenue and expense for basketball.
Yep,
Yeah.
And it
exactly.
hasn't been set up that
Yeah.
way.
And
Can
that's,
you have Roger, I'm assuming he sets the
Yeah.
account numbers?
We need to create new account numbers and make it useful.
yeah, because exactly, because I mean, I know, like, for example, like I don't know if they even make any money on the egg hunt thing. I know that's normally one that's in their budget to, as an expense, but I mean, that's one we've been signing, I think for the past month, we've almost signed a receipt a week on that one.
Yeah.
So, and I understand that's a different type of program, that is a community outreach piece, but, I would still like to say that, hey, softball at least broke even when you sign a thing for $1,600 worth of uniforms. Did we at least recover that?
Yeah.
So.
Anything else for public?
Mhm.
Okay.
And do we
I'd
still-
like,
Go ahead.
I'm just
Okay.
drawing it up here. I'd like to make a motion that we go into non-public session in accordance with RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2D.
Second?
All in favor?